Hello and welcome to Do the Right Thing, a weekly writing prompt podcast. I'm Matthias.
And I'm Jarvis.
Both of us love storytelling, but we know that sometimes it can be difficult to just sit down and write.
So we're doing a challenge. Every week we set a timer for 30 minutes and write a complete short story. Our goal is to include at least 3 randomly generated words.
Then we come on the podcast, we read the stories, and then we talk about what we've learned in writing them. We finish off by talking about stories written by you listeners.
We're simply here to help you do the right thing.
This week we are joined again by our guest, Sterling Zuelch.
Woo!
Hi!
Back again after a long hiatus.
It
Is
has
it
been
really long?
You were
Yeah,
on
it's been a
episode
while.
like 10.
Over
You-
June?
You were on during the independence era of Do the
Yes.
Right Thing.
Ah.
Before we joined our tyrannical
Overlords,
overlords
Are they
of
nice
Duke Media.
tyrannical overlords?
They're very nice tyrannical
That
overlords.
is very good.
But they make us pay dues
Oh.
of $1,000 every day.
Yeah, every time we do an episode,
Yeah.
you're just another
So we're just
$1,000
losing money.
in debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. But we're making do. We're making do.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is why we need new patrons. So, patrons, please, please consider upping your donation,
So good.
starting at the $1 level or anything else like that, so we can be slightly less in debt every day.
Yes, because thanks to you, we might only have to pay them $999.
Yeah, and actually, patron dollars, sometimes I can sneak those off to get myself, some flour to eat.
Yes. Or maybe some water to make dough. With,
So just some gruel would be great, but it's usually not an option. But anyway, so Sterling, we have now a lot of new listeners now.
Yeah.
Could you remind them of
Who are you?
Who am I? Well, I
That's a
could
big
go way
question.
back to my first podcast and be like, I'm an ENFJ, but I think we're past that.
have you grown as a person since then?
Are you
Honestly,
now
I'm
an
even
EFJP?
more amazing than I was before.
Oh,
There you
wow. Okay.
Well, I usually write in fantasy. I go to the same school as Matthias and Jarvis, but I think, is that still a secret where we go?
No, it's not a
No,
secret.
we've talked about UNT a lot, which if you haven't gone to UNT, you should. It's a great place. We're all green, and we have slums, so that's great.
We have...
I basically live in the UNT slums. I would say that.
Oh,
No.
A little bit.
bad.
Well, where else?
Yeah, you're right.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
My goodness.
It
I
is-
just see a roach every now and then.
It is honestly as bad as a well-off Texas suburb can be.
Okay. I don't know about that, but okay.
So it's like Pflugerville.
Okay.
For our Pflugervillian listener.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Okay. So, Sterling, get a little bit more about yourself before we...
Sorry. I'm a fantasy writer. I am working on a series, a book series, but then I'm also going to start posting my very high fantasy series on Amazon called The Chronicles of Volcant. I think it's really good, and it's going to be short stories. Did I already say that? 16,000 words per piece. So
Oh,
we're gonna
okay.
try
Solid.
solid
yeah.
short
That's half.
stories.
That's half novella length.
Yeah,
Really?
that's
I didn't
good.
know that. But
Novella length is 20 to 40,000 ish.
oh, really? Okay. But yeah, you should check it out whenever I get it up there. I'm kind of waiting on my little sister, who is being very frugal with the money that I'm giving her. I basically buy her things in exchange for her reading my story to make sure it's okay. And she's being very slow at her end of the deal, so, I mean, yeah.
So it's taking a while. Which
So,
is why Do the Right Thing is so good, because you get people to actually read your stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
You
do
wanna
you know
smooth this?
do you know when
The
you
sound.
might do you know when you might actually be posting it to maybe give our audience a date, or is it just kind of all up in the air?
I'm really hoping September because I really want to start my side hustles. If you are a broke college student, like we all are, side hustling, publishing some stuff on Amazon, and
Yeah.
I'm going to start donating plasma.
Yeah, all that
See,
plastic.
that's a
plasma.
sign of the struggling writer. So here's another reason to become a patron, so that Sterling can keep her blood. Because
It's platelets. It's protein.
yeah, I probably have to start doing that too. But that's fine.
I mean, listen, it's $60 a pop.
50.
And they're
$50,
popping
that's-
us though. That's the thing.
Yeah, Also, you're going to be
camp.
very dizzy the whole day.
Well, at the very least, I'll be able to read you guys' stories.
Yeah.
And also maybe catch up on Ward, finally, which is the sequel to Worm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I read 5 books over the summer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Congrats.
so I read the series by Ellen Goodlett called Rule and Rise. They were good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read Four Dead Queens, which was very good. It was a single standalone fantasy novel. And then I read something by Preston and Child called Verses for the Dead. It was my first crime thriller.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and I liked it. It's like, but I don't think crime thriller is like my thing, but I think they did a very good job.
Yeah.
And I picked up this book because I thought it was a single standalone, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I really want to find more of those in fantasy, which,
Yeah.
like, I'm being a hypocrite.
Everything's a series now.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm being a hypocrite because I'm going to write a fantasy series. But, like, I mean, like, I love single standalone things that I can just, like, pop open,
Because
read, and be done.
it just gives you everything in that one piece,
Right.
and you don't have to wait. You don't have to worry about any sort of like terribly done cliffhanger. It's a contained story, as stories probably should
Right.
be.
But it was called The Wrath and the Dawn, and it was more on the romantic side, but I really liked, I am blanking on the author's names, but she had such beautiful similes and metaphors in there. Like, I really think I learned a lot from reading just like 5 books over the summer.
Brandon Sanderson.
Yes, I did start listening to Brandon Sanderson's lectures. Yes, and those were very good.
Yeah, actually, speaking of Brandon Sanderson and speaking of reading, there's the Doof Media Book Club. And this month's book is the second in the Mistborn. What's the name of that series?
I think it's Mistborn.
I think it's just... Well, the first book's called Mistborn. I don't know if the whole series is called Mistborn. But anyway... So they're
Song
doing...
of Ice and Fire.
Nope, that's... Nope. So they're doing a book club over the second book of the Mistborn series, and so you can actually go and attend the live recording and leave comments, and Scott and Matt should be able to answer. Although I think the last time we did Mistborn, there was a lot of people, so it was kind of hard to respond to all the comments.
Yeah.
But I love those episodes, so I would recommend it.
Cool.
So if you've read Mistborn or are a fast reader, you can read Mistborn and read its sequel, which is The Well of Ascension, I'm pretty sure. I think. I don't remember what the last one's called. It's great, so go ahead and do that. So let's transition into the next part of the podcast.
So the words for this week. Let's mix it up. Sterling.
They were...
Okay, yeah.
No, I got this.
Okay.
They were Attempt, Indent, Untidy, and Tranquil.
Bam.
Yes.
Got him.
Woo!
See, Sterling is our third host.
Yeah, basically. She's
Yeah.
been on here the most. I'm
You
pretty
guys
sure.
put good quality work. I'm
thank you
always
very
happy
much.
to be on here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's all the episodes that we have with you are very solid.
Look at this
This is good.
setup.
I know, right? Let's set up.
Professional.
Readers can't read. I have to
so-
say, I love having a podcast because you guys don't have to see my face. I'm wearing yesterday's makeup and yesterday's clothes and yesterday's hair. So, like,
What if you had to grow new hair every day?
I've actually been thinking about dyeing the ends of my hair white
Okay.
Ooh, that.
or copper. My hair is brown for listeners, by the way.
So it would just be a lighter brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going back a little bit, so for listeners, let me paint a
beautiful
I was going to say
picture.
soundscape, but that's not the word. It's just a
Landscape.
landscape, I guess. So it's the same weird setup as last time. So the microphone is set on top of a
Pink box.
suede pink box.
Yes.
Okay. That is then flanked on two sides by chairs.
Yes.
Okay, with the backs facing the box, right? So draped over that is a towel, and then draped over the back is another towel, and then draped underneath is a towel. So it's like a box made of towels with a microphone in the center with only one side open, and then we're all on a couch.
And then also the microphone is placed in there gently, just how Jesus was when he was born.
Yeah, and
And-
it has a glowing red eye.
Yeah, like Jesus.
And 2 of the towels are white, and the other one is white with brown, gray, and teal stripes.
So this is very important.
And the best part is in the background we have a beautiful tapestry of a serene mountainscape and a pink sun beaming down on the green trees below.
Hey, if you can't do description as a writer, I don't know what you're doing. So.
All right. So which words did you choose, Sterling?
I chose Untidy, Tranquil, and...
So that's 3.
Yeah,
That's 3. That's all you need.
and-
Untidy, Tranquil was not 3.
Oh, I thought you said another one. Never mind. Okay.
Indent. I chose
Okay.
Indent.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think I used all of them except for Indent.
Yeah,
So.
Okay, so this week was weird.
Okay.
Because I wrote the story that I did post first, but then I was like, that's boring. So then I wrote another story that was part of something else that I wrote like a long time ago.
Okay.
But I just ended up not using that, mostly because there's no ending to it.
Okay.
So, I'm not sure what words I used.
Okay, so you wrote 2 stories, but you only posted the first one.
Yes.
Okay, well.
But I know that I used Attempt, Tranquil, and Indent.
So you do know which ones...
I don't.
Oh,
but
you just... Okay.
I could have lied to everyone on the podcast.
That's true. There is nothing stopping you from lying at all times on this podcast.
If you really think about it, lies kind of just make the world go away.
Money's a lie. So
I think we should go back to the bartering system.
Yeah,
we should. It's better for everyone.
And free will. So let's go on to the next section.
Hold on.
So how was doing the right thing after so long, Sterling?
Felt really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been working on my novel a lot and my short story, so it was nice to like kind of switch gears and do something that I was just like, I have like unlimited freedom. And this, I tell people about your podcast and they're like, oh, so it's just a writing prompt. And I was like, no. You cannot.
It's writing analysis?
No, because you're so right. You try and find a writing prompt, and if you don't like it, you're just not going to do it. And this is like not really a writing prompt. It's like just words.
Right. Well, the thing is like for most writing prompts, like the traditional ones, like the ones on /r/writing prompts, right, and stuff like that, or you go on Tumblr and you search writing prompts. They're just like scenarios at the beginning of a story, and it really like for me a lot of times it feels like really restrictive of just like write this idea, right? But like my problem is not that I don't have ideas, it's that I don't have the rest of the story, right? Like I've got plenty of ideas for a world or a conflict, but not just motivation to write it, right?
Because I feel like they give you too much.
Yeah, and
they built this like setting that you might not even really play it.
Right. And for me, the question, writing prompt, the best ones are when they're questions. Or it's like, what would happen if X, right? Because then you can run with that, and that sparks your imagination, right? Mm-hmm. So with these words, right, you like are hit with this challenge. How do I fit them all together? And that, for me, just it makes me like run with it a lot faster. So.
Because it's so open, but there is definitely like, okay, so like in like racing games, when you go the wrong way, and then an arrow pops up pointing the other way.
Okay,
that's basically what do the right thing is.
Okay,
we are that arrow pointing you in a direction, but you can get there whenever you really want.
Yeah.
I also found out what words I actually use.
Okay, which ones did you actually use?
Untidy, Tranquil, and Attempt. So not Indent.
Okay, wow. What amazing progress. Yes. Well, one thing I want to talk about is that, so I read all the listener stories, which, again, so many are just fantastic. And so you should please, if you're listening to this and you haven't read the stories, please go and listen. They're just, like, I'm consistently impressed every single week. And there's so many stories that, like, I want to talk about, but we just do not have the time. Yeah. And it pains me every single time.
Or the money.
Huh?
We don't have the time. Or
if you guys donate more to the Patreon, I'll set a $5,000 goal. If there's a $5,000 goal, I will talk about every single story.
Every single last one.
If the $5,000 goal is met. You can set a goal.
Yeah, the $5,000 goal is met within 3 months. It's not going to happen, so I feel safe saying that.
Actually, no, I'll say 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. Okay. 6 months.
6 months. If you guys can raise $5,000 a month in 6 months.
Yes. Then we'll read
every single story.
Every single last story. We will comment about them on the podcast, and we will personally send you a Google Doc of everything that we think you should do differently and improvements that you should make to it.
And also what you did right.
Yes. Okay.
Because we want to be positive.
The reason I bring up the listener stories is because I want to talk about some trends that I saw.
Oh, yeah.
There were some definite trends.
This week, at least in the ones that we're going to talk about, there was romance for at least 2 of them.
Let me count them off my fingers. So there was like a romance group of at least 2 or 3 romances. There was 2 or 3 meta stories talking
about doing the right thing.
Was about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. There was at least one other thing. There's another grouping. I don't remember what it was.
There were at least 2 stories, I think, that take place underground.
That's true.
Yes.
And then I don't know. It was just very interesting seeing that, like, some people went on similar trends.
Yeah.
And I like seeing some stuff that was different.
Well, I mean, that's something that we've seen commonly, at least in these past weeks, is that a lot of people tend to follow on the same trail, but they take it completely different ways.
Yeah.
Like, the two romances that we're going to talk about today have totally different feels. One of them is very dialogue heavy and it has a lot of back and forth, whereas the other one is very minimal with the dialogue and takes a more non-physical approach as to how these two people kind of become one.
Become one.
Become one.
And also I was interested to see, I think 2 people as well also are kind of doing serialized stories where they were connected to prior stories.
Yes.
At least 2. Which was really interesting to see.
Yeah.
I don't think either of those were picked for this week, but
I don't think so.
But I'm really interested to see how they go in the future.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's. And is there anything else that we want to talk about before we jump into the stories?
I mean, none of us talked about the process of writing it.
Okay, you can do that.
Yes.
Well, we can also do that before we talk about each of our individual stories.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, Jarvis, how did writing your story go for you, and what do we need to know before we go into it?
It was very odd, to be honest. As the people who listened to the last episode probably know, moving in has been quite a difficult and dirty challenge.
Okay.
Just,
dirty, listeners, dirty.
Yeah, it was, honestly.
Yeah, just like getting stuff ready, and just getting it all handled. And also this first week I've been working doubles every single last day because Starbucks apparently doesn't have enough workers.
You're a trooper.
I'm a trooper. I'm doing it all for the money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I kind of wrote this a little bit last minute-ish. Well, I guess not really last minute. I wrote it like 2 days ago.
I wouldn't say it was pretty funny. The last 5 stories submitted were, I think, in order.
Yeah.
Who was it? Who was first? Was it Matt?
It was Matt.
No. It was you. Then it was Matt. Then it was me. Then it was Ruben from Media MD and Deep Impact. And then it was Sterling.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, you did it earlier. You just didn't.
Yeah.
You weren't able to submit it. I don't know. It's funny. The people who are supposed to be most on top of the ball.
Because we're doing so much behind the scenes.
Elliot was one of the very first people. Also from Media MD and Deep Impact. So, also, great story.
Oh, fantastic story. 100%. Yeah. He has like 8 comments on that story.
No. That was someone else's.
Oh, okay.
That was the first person to submit. I think it was Shin 7. I think
Shin 7.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So got a 7 comments on their story. So I'm glad.
It's a sign.
I will say, not to call the listenership out, but we had 80 comments last week and only 40 this week, and I would just love to see some more commenting on different people's stories.
Calm down, Matthias.
Well, I will say, I don't know, I just felt bad seeing some stories that didn't have any comments on them.
Yeah.
And especially after we rolled them and those weren't picked.
Also, I feel honestly it just depends on when it's posted.
Yeah.
Because of course the very first one's got the most comments
Yeah.
because when everyone else posts, they'll see that one.
Yeah. I just, I would love to see some more interaction. So I would say, I would challenge listeners to, I would challenge everyone who writes to at least read one other story and leave at least one comment. It would be great if you guys could do 2. They're short and they're all fantastic.
Because I know I personally have that issue also.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, I'm a very slow reader, and then also after I read, for some reason when it comes to writing, I want to really say something that might be different from all the other comments. So it takes me forever to come up with a comment. But
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay. But it's still
it's rewarding just to know that you're acknowledged and your story is read.
And then also it just makes you a better writer and a better reader in general because you're able to come up with something totally outside of the piece about the piece.
Yeah, to see, hey, this thing can be improved in this person's writing. It can also be improved in mine. Mm-hmm. So, at the very least, it reminds you of the rules, right?
Exactly.
And I would say that anyone who's not writing along with us, please go into the subreddit and just read some of the stories and maybe leave a comment.
Read it, and honestly, we would recommend you at least try it. You don't have to necessarily post it, but I think the process of just writing for the 30 minutes is a really great thing. And even if you're not a writer, it's a break from the next thing that you need to do.
I mean, it's fun. Like, that alone is a motivation. But anyway, so back to your story.
Back on me. Since this week was kind of difficult, I've been, stepping back. For the last couple of years, I've been keeping a journal. Well, multiple journals. One of them is just like whenever something big happens, I'll just write in it. Another one is a idea journal that I write down ideas. And then the third one is a quick reference journal that I just write down whatever's going to happen like in the next couple minutes. If it's like a list for stuff that I need at the store, blah, blah, blah. So right after I was done writing in my normal journal, I decided to kind of do something like that for the story. Only because I know when I write in that journal, I pour all of my heart out. And then I think it's probably the most genuine thing that I write is in that journal. So I kind of tried to do something like that for this story. And also, Matthias has been giving me a challenge for the last couple of
to
weeks.
Use a different voice.
To use a different voice, not be so dark, broody, pessimistic, and noir. And the hope is that I've done that. I think I have. At least a little bit more. It's not set in the world of Weekend City, so that's something. But yeah, I think that's about it. Judge it how you will. Take it with a grain of salt or a whole spoonful of sugar. And the title for this one is 8/22/19, the day that I wrote it. And it is titled Happy Second Year Anniversary. Emotions compounded by distance equals perception. At least that's what I've found to be true. Time doesn't always help broaden the mind and give it calm if you're in the thick of it. In fact, time can let things fester instead of heal. It's a misconception of a far more complicated neurological pathway that if we had a one-word phrase or solve to, we'd all be millionaires on top of Capitol Hill. Oh, and happy birthday to this journal. We've been working hard, you and I, to categorize all these untidy thoughts and maybe, just maybe, get a bit of tranquility in this joint. Therapy for the poor. Hell, at this cost, it's 98 cents, 50 right before school, and a buck or two for pens, and bam, got yourself a bona fide PhD level therapy sesh without all the pesky oversharing. At any rate, I've been good. Finally beat New Game Plus of Ruiner, and even did some shopping all by my lonesome. It's kind of funny. When people see me strolling by, they'll either have one of three reactions. They smile in a way that's warm and welcoming, but not inviting a full conversation. They stick strong to their path, treating me as some questless NPC whose dialogues you've already burned through. Or they do the extra efforts to look away, like something caught their eye, and not that they simply don't want to make eye contact with a thick rim and toothy smile. I say all that to say I got a mixture of them in the store. It's a lot more jumbled when your town is filled with people you know. Makes it a game of who to walk past and who to attempt a conversation with. I've been trying to talk to more people I don't know. You will find new connections is in this month's horoscope, so might as well get it done early. You know what's always been so weird to me? Laughing like too much. Like this one lady I ran into. Kind, probably like 30s and got a bunch of kids. She was reaching hard for the filtered water on the top of the shelf, had a whole pinky on it, and was edging it closer, methodically. When I strolled by, she flagged me down, gave me the job, and I did it, as you should. When I brought it down to her, I said, "They must keep the good water on the top, huh?" And she busted out laughing, made a few car alarms go off in the process, even gave me a verb OU tap on the shoulder. She then tried to pawn me off to her son, so I quickly got out of there, but it got me thinking. You think that was the first joke she heard in a while? I mean, not to assume, but she didn't look all too fun. Like she had that, "What do you mean happy hour just ended?" look to her. Tight lips and a kind of perma-scowl you only see on people like Kate from Kate Plus 8. Damn, that show got messy. Beyond that, these 2 years have been good. Feels like just yesterday I started this thing. Wrote down all those shitty poems about love and loss and depression and anxiety. Those were the days when the feelings were all encompassing and I didn't have the hindsight to do anything about it. Thankfully, though, I know. Lived this life for 23 years and am finally now deciding to live it. I feel by the 3rd year anniversary, I won't need you anymore.
All right, fantastic story.
Yay!
It's very train of thought. Very what's the word? It's not train of thought.
Stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness. Thank you very much. Yes,
you were very welcome.
Very stream of consciousness. I like how we kind of see like how this person maybe has grown in the past, but also they get on tangents. But it does seem that they have like grown a bit and they've gotten past the initial horribleness of, I guess, adulthood. But they're still kind of struggling with stuff. I don't know. I also love the voice. It's very you. I mean, obviously this is very inspired by your own life.
100%.
Yeah, it just very much seems that way. It seems like just something I could find in your diary. Like,
yeah. my dream journal.
Yeah, maybe not exactly, because there's a couple of things that are like very character, right?
Yeah.
Something that not exactly a real person like probably would say, but like it's how a real person would feel. Does that make sense? Like,
what part are you talking about specifically?
Like when I'm talking about voice, I'm talking about stuff like your anniversary and then the conversational stuff with the journal. Let me find some like some stuff at the end. Like thankfully, though I know I lived this life for 23 years and finally deciding to live it. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
But when I say it doesn't sound like exactly like what a real person would say, I mean that like it doesn't feel like it's not a real person. It's just like it's a kind of voice that belongs with characters.
Yeah, I feel
right?
that. Okay.
Like it still feels like a real person. It just like isn't what it is. Does that make sense?
I get exactly
okay.
What you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did the thought process of going to make this story? Because I know it comes off like very almost existential, but then once you go into this is a journal, it seems like the story coalesces. Like it starts off with emotions compounded by distance equals perception, which is very
I
deep
love that
thought.
opening line.
Yeah. But it definitely signals to me a completely different story than what we get.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel that was probably like one of the biggest days is because when I sat down to write it, I had a completely different idea how this journal thing would kind of pan out. But the idea itself came from sitting down and like reading through like a lot of my older journals, and yeah, I mean I kind of found it true, and I've also talked to it with people with that like there was a point in my life and like some of my friends' life where we were all kind of in this like sad bliss.
Okay.
Where, like, we would listen to, like, sad music and it's like, oh, man, they get us.
Okay.
You know, and, like, how we were so lost in it and didn't really have the hindsight of that there's something after that.
Yeah.
That, like, sadness that really definitely hugs you for a while. So after reading through that, I kind of assessed who I was to who I am now. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just came up with, because I honestly didn't start really, I guess, feeling better as a person until I left Pflugerville. Okay. So it was the distance that really gave me that hindsight and not time.
Yeah, okay.
So I just found that out. But yeah, the process of writing it was basically just trying to figure out what a person would say to a journal close to the point to where they might not need it anymore. Yeah. To where they've kind of figured things out, and the therapeutic sessions that they give their selves doesn't go to its full effect because they're in a much better place that they were when they first started. Mm-hmm.
So to go to some character stuff that I really liked. I mean, I said this, but the fact that they call it a yearversary is, I mean, that's so. I mean, obviously that's not what the word is. So that's a character choice, right? Yeah. And so that tells us a little bit about who they are. I think one of the main ways that you show us this character is through that aside about the lady, about laughing too much. Like, it kind of, like, that whole tangent, I don't know how much it has to do with the actual story. Like, it's very tangential, right? Mm-hmm. But it does tell so much about the character.
Yeah, definitely.
And I almost feel like there is some kind of meaning in there about, I don't know, like, about cheering someone up on a hard day or a hard life or week because this person doesn't seem fun, right?
It doesn't seem fun.
And then they laugh way too hard off of this tiny little joke. Mm-hmm. Got to keep the best water on top, huh? It's funny. I think that's a great line because it's like, it is kind of funny. Yeah. It is funny. I would go, huh.
It's not funny.
Yeah, it's not something you laugh about. It's something that you go, oh, that's kind of clever, right? Mm-hmm. But this lady does laugh, and that tells us a lot about her character, too.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, well, the way that I tried to, like, make it is that it, as you said, it's a peek into the character that's talking. Yeah. Because there's this very normal situation, but this character kind of finds, I don't know, like a slightly pessimistic view on it. Yeah. But it's not totally pessimistic in its core, like it's just more like a query. They're just questioning it.
There's some stuff I wonder, though. There's like a part of me that says you should make this tragic, right? And I mean, I'm not actually...
The lady gets killed when the water falls off the shelf.
Yes. That's not what I meant, but I mean, there's a part of me that's like, wouldn't this be interesting? I'm not saying you should change it this way. There's that video of the skit where it's like an editor saying a writer, you should try this, but like not this. But like try something like this, but like not this. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah.
But to make this like they actually really should see a therapist, but because they're like using a diary, they're like functional, but like they have like some deeper issues that definitely needed some addressing. I don't know. I don't know. There was just a part of me saying. Expecting that almost.
I mean, definitely, if I were to make it longer, I would probably go down
or something like that.
That route, yeah.
Or maybe, this would be interesting if, like, at this point they've like gotten past all the initial stuff, right? They've been able to acknowledge their feelings, right? But now they actually have to do something about those feelings, about those causes, right? That's
the hardest part.
And maybe acknowledging some like of the worst truths, right? Mm-hmm. So like you can acknowledge that like you're angry and sad and stuff, but like it's harder to acknowledge where the sadness and the anger is coming from exactly, and like what part of that is your fault and what you can do. Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I want to talk about is that my story is also stream of consciousness.
Oh, nice! High five!
Yeah, very funny because this is a podcast, but it's a stream of consciousness about someone with like some issues. So I just saw like a lot of parallels as well. So
oh wow, okay.
I like the description that you gave with like the way people like look or try not to or don't look at you on the street. It was very accurate. And then I like how you describe the woman trying to reach for the water and everything. Like she's like edging it with her pinky towards the shelf.
Yeah, that was a great little touch.
Yeah, because I'm the shortest kid in my family at like 5'8", 5'9", the shortest, right?
Wow.
Okay, I have a
really tall family.
Right, yeah. I have a brother who's 6'5" and he's 14, right? So they make fun of me. And so like whenever I have to like kind of like inch up to like grab something on the very highest shelf, I get made fun of. But like, so I appreciated having you describing someone else trying to inch something towards the shelf. I just thought it was a very good description.
Because I never get why stuff is up there. Because the average height can't get there.
Yeah. Anyway, let's on story stuff. Yeah, I thought it was a great just touch about her that she's kind of just struggling for it.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else of her many kids were helping her. I don't know how old they were, but none of them were helping, right?
They weren't there. I guess I didn't make that play.
Oh. Well,
I just said she looks like...
Well, you said that she tried to pawn off the character to her son.
Yes.
So I assume the son was there.
Oh, I thought she was trying to sell him on oh, you should come over and meet my son, or hey, my son.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay. I did. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't fully understand that one. My assumption was that her son was also there, and she was just tell him the funny thing, tell him the funny thing, or something.
Tell him
like
funny.
Anyway, but also that's a character thing, so it could just be that. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing. If Sterling got it and other people got it,
Maybe you're just bad.
No, that could. I had considered that. So maybe.
But no, yeah, that's definitely, at least for me, something I want to work on in general. It's just making things, I guess, plainer.
Yeah, I wonder it's because a lot of the times you use these idiomatic phrases and stuff like that, the idioms.
Yeah.
And some of it's, I wonder how much of it's regional and wouldn't be understood elsewhere, which is that's also okay, especially if it's in a longer piece and people can kind of just pick up on the idioms and just get with it, right? So yeah,
but it is true. For our UK listener, they probably don't know what we're saying.
Yeah, they just can't understand what we're saying.
Yeah, they're they aren't speaking proper.
Mm-hmm.
They turn it off.
And they turn it off.
But they've listened to every.
Yeah, well,
episode.
they already downloaded the episode, so what does it matter?
Yeah, we don't care about them anymore.
Yeah. We appreciate all UK listeners.
All one of you.
All one. No, there's an amount.
Hey, you don't want to say there's only one, because then, what if someone starts from the very beginning and they're oh, well, they only can have one UK listener at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't want to alienate our UK listeners.
All 500 of you. There we go.
There we go.
What's the population of England?
A lot.
5.
Okay, all of England has to listen to this podcast now.
but not Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland.
Why?
But you said England.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Which is
I thought you were just saying not
every
them.
person in the UK.
There we go.
Including.
And Ireland.
Anyway,
let's move on. This is a long bit.
This is a long bit.
I wanted to go back a little bit when you... talking about the strangers on the street and the reactions they had to this person. I love how they were related to something that the character cares about, which is video games. The questless... They treat the main character like they're a questless NPC that you've already burned through the dialogue of. That's not exactly the quote. I'm going whatever matter.
No,
but
that is it.
That's pretty close. Maybe not word for word, but it's definitely really close.
That's better than how I wrote it.
I love that line. And I love how it's the character's just kind of okay with it. They don't necessarily want to talk to all these people, but they totally understand why they wouldn't talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just thought it was interesting. So let's try to see if we can find something bad to improve on.
Yeah. Try and tear me apart.
I don't want to tear anybody apart.
Well, we don't have to tear anyone apart, but something to improve on.
I mean, definitely on that last thing when it's talking about people passing by.
Mm-hmm.
That's normally just something that I've noticed.
Yeah.
Especially walking at night for some reason. But
yeah. Well, I mean, at night people are more likely to be scared.
Yeah, true. So. They see just a large mass walking through the woods.
Yeah. What, you approach them in the woods? Whenever I try to murder people, they always run away. It's weird.
They're always scared. I don't know why.
I haven't even started to murder them, and they're already running away. Judge me. Judge me. I was trying to think of that.
Judge me not by my character, but by my.
No, wait, that's the other way around.
Don't judge me by the content of my skin, but the content of my character.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I
think it's color of skin, content of character.
Mm-hmm.
You say
yes,
content of skin,
color of character. But yeah, if you don't know,
it's more hipster that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the last couple of years, I've been masquerading as the hash slinging slasher.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, the trash slinging, the bass binging. There's
punctuation.
So I guess one thing I would critique on it is very meandering and not necessarily like
It's the name of the game.
I mean it is. You wrote this in 30 minutes, and it's a journal entry, so it's kind of it's completely natural.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there was a way to like make it more. Not I'm gonna say to make it have more of a point, but it does have a point. But to like have more parts of it going towards this one thing, you know?
And definitely while writing it, that was my biggest issue. And I kind of wanted to stretch it out longer, but of course I ran out of time. Because I feel that the point could be created like a lot further in, just like why all these things are being said to kind of give you a better picture of the character. And then you can talk about exactly like, I know one thing that I wanted to like add is where they were on the first year anniversary.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to find how they've changed year to year. Actually, one thing that would have been cool is if you kind of set up the conflict of like, what is this character trying to figure out right now? And then you go through the story, these different observations that color their perception, and then at the end you have by next year, 30th anniversary, I might not need you anymore. And I would love to see, like, seeing that problem established in the beginning and then seeing that answer. Because you have the answer and you have the middle. You just need to give us the question at the beginning, I think.
Yeah. And also, something that I definitely want to do, because I do semi-plan on maybe revisiting it. I think there's something there. I would like to inject a lot more comedy.
Yeah.
At least in it. Because I know when I was writing it, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling funny.
I thought the laughing thing was amusing, you know, so I thought it worked.
That is what I plan to be, amusing.
Yeah.
You're going to say something, Sterling?
I think, like, even though you said, like, it sounded like she looks like she hadn't, like, laughed in a long time, you know, like, she doesn't usually laugh. I think it would have been funny to, like, describe her laugh if it was, like, awkward, or did he, like, kind of touch on that with, like, how she looked versus, like, the sound of her laughter.
Yeah, no, that would have been, interesting.
The sound of her laughter. Like, if she had one of those, like, snorting laughs, or, like...
or use a simile of, like, describing her laugh
it sounded
as
like a
something
steamboat
else.
Or something.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
A steamboat laugh?
Yeah.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, is there anything else that do you want to talk about your story or anything else that you would change?
I don't know. I think I kind of spelled out everything that would change about it. I would go back, probably add a little bit more comedy, give it a better point. I feel that was the biggest thing that was really missing, and that's just a testament of me only doing it within 30 minutes.
I wonder is that like if I spent more time analyzing it, would I come up with a pretty clear meaning? I think I might actually.
Maybe
it's just that I read it. Twice, not that much. And I didn't.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't like take notes. I didn't annotate. So.
I know when I was writing it, the point was that kind of even in this like odd, critical, maybe even dark place, there is that hope, which is the hope that I won't need you for the third year, and how that hope, even if it's kind of shrouded in a lot of other things, a lot of tangents, it's still there, and it's still something to hold on to. But of course, that's something I would have to hash out if I ever go back and.
Right.
Extend it, talk about the first year of anniversary, and also, I don't know, just go more into this character and just build it.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Something I think I talked about on the Discord, or maybe it was just you and me talking, was a lot of times, like, when I go in to write a story, maybe we talked about this last episode, but I don't actually know the meaning that I'm going to go into. I just know that I want to explore something.
Yeah.
And I think having that question rather than coming in with the answer makes the story a lot more interesting, right? So you go through and you write the thing and you're like, oh, that's what it means. Yeah. That's the answer.
And then also it's just a great feeling when you go in with that question and then you get the answer. Yeah. That's, at least to me, is when you know you have something pretty good on your hands.
Yeah. So stuff like, if you go sci-fi, right? Like stuff like when like that. Well, when Isaac Asimov or Philip K. Dick goes in and it's like, what if robots had souls? They start a story and they're like, what if robots had souls? And then they just treat the story how it is and they find out what it is, what happens and what that means. But then once you've written the first draft, obviously, then you go back and you make all of it point towards that meaning. Because sometimes you don't know until later.
Which I guess honestly meaning isn't really defined probably till the second draft, or at least the third one.
I would, probably.
Because that's when it's redefined.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like going in with an idea of a meaning, but I think it's like I don't want anyone ever to feel discouraged for not having a meaning going in, because I don't think that's how most people do
also,
it.
that's at least in my own in the way that I write, I find it super difficult when you go in with the meaning and then you're trying to explain everything around that. Because at least like when I write, if I know where I'm going, people say it's supposed to be easier, but it's harder. Yeah, because you have to set it up. Yeah, and I feel that setting it up instead of just letting it flow is a lot more difficult.
Well, another thing I want to clarify is that when I say like going in without knowing the meaning, it's like when you start writing, you start to discover the meaning, and then as you continue writing, you're like reinforcing that meaning. Like when I go in the story and I'm like, I want to create this message of like, oh, this is how you should treat your friends or whatever, right? I realize that's what I'm writing, and then I continue making the story about that. Like, and that's another thing is for a long time, I especially in high school and stuff, right? I would look at a book and be like, what the hell does a meaning? Why? Like the author didn't go in with a theme; they just wrote the story, right? Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, yeah, they can write a story, but the story always feels better to write. Like, with the same in the same way that the words drive creativity, having a theme that you're going for, right? Having a theme that you're trying to reinforce helps you write better because, like, it creates something to focus on, and it makes the story less of just a meandering, like, you know, just adventure going all over the place, right? So having these themes is just kind of like another prompt, a little driver that makes you focused on something.
I agree and disagree.
Okay.
I don't think... I don't know, because like a theme, you can read your work and be like, oh, that's a theme. But I think like if you have like, I guess, are you saying that like there's one overarching theme, but like there's so many little different side themes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, a story doesn't have to be about one thing.
Right.
At all.
Stories like, typically about multiple things.
Very many things.
It's like, it's weird, actually, like, personally for me and my writing, I'm like, oh, this plot point can, like, do this. And it's like, but what are people going to draw out of that? But if that's not something I want to say with my book, do I X that plot point?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And so, like, themes are hard. They're kind of tricky because you don't want people to get confused by a theme or, like, find a different theme and you're like, that's not what I intended, but, like, that's what happens in literature.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where all the analysis and critics and everything comes in.
Like, anyway, it's interesting. I like theme, but you don't want to, like, write something and be like, oh, look, this person, I don't know.
Honestly,
it's just something to keep in mind already.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel that the worst thing is just to be married to it.
Yeah. I think
it can work, but you can't be married to it.
For the most part, I would say just, like, use it as a tool, right? Like, use it
like
to draw
everything
inspiration.
Else. For sure.
Yeah. So, So that's my message there.
Yeah. So you found the meaning to your message.
The meaning of my message.
Did you know what that meaning was when you started talking?
Nope. So let's transition to the next section, which is
you.
all about me.
Yeah. Who are you? So, Matthias, how was the process of writing? Is there anything that we need to know before you go ahead and start?
You got that down pat, huh?
Watch, rinse, and repeat, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. So I've been so busy last week.
So sober?
Really bad. And so this story was written at like 11 p.m. at night. And so, I don't know. When I feel really tired, I usually go stream of consciousness because it's a lot easier to just let it flow.
So easy.
And I'm mostly happy with how that turned out. Like, I know which way the story would go if I were to rewrite it. And I think that's more important. It's not like, I don't know. It was enjoyable to write and to have some themes that I think it would explore again. So.
In the piece itself, are you proud of it? Do you think it's the best thing you've ever written?
Oh, it's not even close to the best thing I've ever written, but it's got a kernel of something.
Okay. Kernel of hope?
Yeah, and it's exploring. There's one thing that's like starts to be explored. It's not very thorough and it's not complete. It's not, I mean, not amazing, but it's something. So that's all we can hope for with Do the Right Thing.
Well,
so
yeah, honestly, if it's something, you did the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. So this story is called Meditation. Okay. Center yourself. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself floating on an island in a pure, tranquil lake. Wind is blowing, fishy splashing. Or, no wind blowing, no splashing. All is still. Great. Breathe in. Breathe out. Ignore the itch on your butt. Ignore it. Damn, okay. I barely got started. Oh, okay, I really need to scratch that. That would have bugged me the entire time. Okay, second attempt. Centering... Wait, what does that even mean, to center myself? I'm already here, aren't I? Wait, does that mean I need to be in the center of the room? Worth a try with spatial energies and stuff. Wow, this room is untidy. No wonder I feel so off. I left clothes everywhere. Shirt in the hamper. Pants. Ew, how long did I leave my underwear out? Did he see them? Ah, shit, of course he did. He had to step over them to get over to me. Wait, am I just procrastinating? I am, aren't I? I'm supposed to recognize it when I can, and so, back to meditating. Wait, I probably need to put the clothes away anyway. I'm half done, right? Clothes put away. Great. How much time left? 30 minutes done already? How much of that was cleaning? I'll call that 20 minutes to cleaning, 10 to meditation, right? Well, okay, let's be fair. It was probably closer to half and half, right? Centered in the center of the room. Check. Eyes are closed. Check. Legs folded in slightly uncomfortable position. Check. Wait. Am I doing this right? Therapist lady that I keep embarrassingly forgetting the name of says I should just do it in a way that feels right. But what does that even mean, though? Some ice cream would feel right. No, you said you'd give it a fair try, Stacy. It's supposed to help you gain some control of your thoughts, so when they throw childish temper tantrums and decide to dive into a dark pit and burn themselves like idiot bugs spurting into a light, you can get them out of there. So, let's give it a fair try. There. That's more comfortable. Centering. Eyes shut. Not thinking about anything in the room. Thinking about that lake. Calm water. Maybe some birds in the sky. Cool air. Trickling water. The scent of fresh grass in the air. You smell like fresh grass. Manly. With that hair that felt soft like brushes of breath on your fingers. And that smile. The one that looks like he knows and he wants to look past it and help you. Stop. That is not meditation, Stacy. Not even a little bit. Also, what kind of melodramatic stuff is that? Him knowing. He doesn't know. Well, how do you know he doesn't know? I know because if he knew, he would come over to your house with the dirty underwear and the dark stain on the carpet on short notice to hold you as you cry about some bullshit reason you came up with because you're too afraid to tell him about the real reason you're afraid of raised voices and honking horns and when people move their arms too fast. You're far too afraid to even really think about the stupid fucking thing that happened how long ago now? 3 years? You should be over it now, you stupid fuck, and instead you're moping about it again instead of fucking meditating. Like, wind blowing, crashing waves on the shore, enough noise to drown out the twisty bits in your gut, and breathe out. You were holding that breath in a while. That's probably why you feel bad, holding in all that tension. Relax your shoulders, let them drop, hanging loose. Relax your back and your tensed up calves. Don't slaps though. Relax. Just fucking relax. Splashing fishies. Thinking of fishies and nothing else. Nothing at all. How much time is left? Holy fuck, that was only 10 minutes? So 10 plus the 15 from before. Fuck this, I'm gonna buy a tub of birthday cake ice cream. Now that's self-care. That's the story.
This sounds like the most you thing ever, and I absolutely love it. It's drastically relatable when it comes to like meditation. I've definitely felt all of those thoughts. Like, why am I here? Why am I in the center?
Yeah.
So you said you were going to take it a different direction if you had a chance to rewrite it?
I feel like, well, there was a touch of like why she's doing the meditation, mm-hmm. right? The touch of like where it's coming from and like what's the motivation and all that, and the traumatic event that happened 3 years ago or whatever. And I would expand that significantly, mm-hmm. because I don't know what it is. I mean, I assume it's some kind of abuse because of the raised arms and stuff like that. But it didn't, I don't know. There was definitely some other things I could push to have some more meaning.
Yeah.
Like, some more specifics. I think that's a problem I run into a lot of times when I do these. I leave things a little, not too vague, because it is a 30-minute story. It's not that big a deal. But if I want to make them better, what's the word? Not cracking down, but really, really getting down and putting in those details and figuring those out would help, I think. So, yeah, that's basically my thought process whenever I feel bad. So,
birthday cake ice cream.
Yeah,
that's a good ice cream.
I actually personally I cannot stand birthday cake ice cream.
It's not the best.
Well, no, Sterling disagrees.
Oh, you think
it's good? It's just,
it's good.
My only I just don't like super rich ice creams. So like,
so you like it like
I don't like
praline?
I don't like cookie dough ice cream. I don't like birthday cake ice cream. I don't like any of the cake ice creams actually. But that's just me.
It's fine to be wrong. Dude.
No,
okay.
It's a subjective opinion.
You know what's great?
So
is when you go to Kroger. I don't know where all of our listeners are from. But
they all know what a Kroger.
Okay, well, I don't know if Kroger's a regional thing. Okay,
yeah. So your Australian listeners,
yeah,
right, okay.
Kroger is like a
store.
Weird Walmart.
It's just a grocery store. There's no like stuff.
It's fine.
Anyway, Kroger's signature ice cream, like, slaps. It is so good. It's so decadent. Like, no matter what flavor you get, it's so decadent. Yeah,
but the best ice cream is Bluebell.
I disagree.
I don't know about
that. It's fantastic, and people fell off because at one point, they had listeria in it. And then at another point...
That actually got a girl from my high school hospitalized.
It almost... killed my grandma.
Oh, no!
Let's hear it a little bit louder for the listeners.
No.
I think, like, I was not raised on Bluebell.
Oh.
So, like, I was like, we had Brahms in my house, and we had Kroger ice cream. So, like, it doesn't bring any nostalgia for me, and also I just have a phobia of biting into cold things, so I really like those ice creams that you can, like, that taste really good if you, like, stir it a lot, and then you can just lick it.
Okay.
Sorry. I like
know.
Someone told me natural selection is gonna like kill me off because I can't bite into cold stuff, and I was like, whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, like when the world freezes over, and we don't have the heat. The only thing we have is like cold elk. Once you bite it, your body can't hang.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think we'll have toothpaste that is like it's whitening toothpaste. It makes your teeth more sensitive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
going back at
I'm sorry.
So back on you. Where does your character buy ice cream?
Oh my god. Well, so for real though, some other things that I definitely wanted to improve on was the character of the boyfriend or whoever.
Yeah,
I feel like I could have pushed a big conflict there. At the very least, like pushing insecurity, like that would have been easy. I could have easily have.
I could easily do insecurity.
I could make my main character super insecure without any problem. But for real, like that. I mean, that would be that's another. I think in the story, she's like clearly insecure and like worried about a lot of stuff, and she's way too secure in that relationship.
Yeah,
like she was like, "Oh no, he saw underwear," but that's it. Like, I feel like she should be like in denial, like he likes her or something like that.
So you kind of just want to take it like a bit farther, basically.
Yeah, or just make it another point of contention. I like one thing is the story just maybe is just like a little too short for this. But like I feel like going back in the story, the first half where she's like just being distracted by stuff in the room is not like wasted time, but it doesn't have an emotional connection to it as much.
It's setting, it's getting the audience.
Yeah.
But I mean honestly, when you did read it out, I will say that it feels like the first half and the second half, there's something missing in the middle. Mm-hmm. There's that liaison that will
perfect. No, that was good.
Yeah, I don't know French. That will basically kind of meld those 2 points together, which is honestly what you're saying, just going into deeper detail as the reason to why she is meditating.
Yeah, I feel one great way that I could have done it was to have like what she's imagining when she's meditating be directly tied into like maybe the trauma or something like that. Like maybe there's a particular item or something like that in the imagining that like strikes her to like start thinking about the horrible thing that happened 2 years ago, whatever it was.
But on a different note, right? Your reading of it, the most entertaining. I don't know, just the way that you read it is drastically different than how I read it.
Yeah,
especially there was this one part where it was a stream of consciousness, her basically going through the reason as to why she's there. You said it straightforward with like no pauses.
Yeah.
And I really like that because that is a perfect mimic of like how at least I feel real thoughts work.
Yeah. Well, actually, in that paragraph, there's only like 2 or 3 bits of punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a comma or 2 and a question mark.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically it for the whole paragraph. Ish.
Right.
It's not exactly, but yeah, I wanted to create like the rolling feeling of just like going off the deep end with these thoughts.
It's just rolling down a hill. That's definitely what it felt like.
Yeah. So I think this is some like a character voice that I'm going to bring back. I mean, they're going to be different next time. They won't be named Stacy. They might not even be the same gender. They like
can't she be named Stacky?
Yeah, should be named Stacky.
Okay.
But I don't know. It is very me because like that's kind of when I feel terrible. That's kind of the kind of deep end I go off of. Where it's like you kind of blame yourself for not being healed enough, you know? And I don't know. It's something that I feel like it's a resource I can tap, right? Mm-hmm. You can tap the terrible things about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, why do we write?
Yeah. To get that self-loathing and take it out of me and put it into a character. It's a great idea. Real healthy.
You just turn the gun on yourself.
Yeah.
And then you turn it on the page.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Using a self-reflection might be a good way to do it, rather than just writing people that are different from myself. So.
I mean, honestly, like, no matter the like real reason of like why you're writing. I know I've talked about this before, but the best medicine I think is just.
I mean, that's what your story is about, right? Your story is about writing as therapy.
If you think about it, all my stories are about that.
That's so true.
It's extremely meta.
But no, I mean, like, yeah, and nothing is really wrong with that. And I feel that it felt a very much like you. Because not only can I like see you very like aligning with the subject matter, but just the flow of it and the word choice, and just also I don't know, just like even if I read this and did not know it was made by you, I can see that like on beat comedic flair. Sure, that's like in that, but it's in a midst of like other themes that you're really playing with and trying to like get at.
Yeah.
So.
I think my goal for next time would be to like take this voice and put it in a third person limited or a first person where it's not stream of consciousness at all. Because I mean, the problem with stream of consciousness when you're entirely consciousness is that it gets pretty hard to describe things. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. But the way that I do it, which is different, which is just like the thoughts and like not like observations, because I do this thing where like whenever I want to write a stream of consciousness thing and I like want to describe something, I have to like inject a voice observation. So it's just like, ooh, that guy over there looks like this, right? But that's not necessarily like, I mean, that's not description, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you want to, you can do stream of consciousness where it's not just like actual thoughts to yourself, right? You can be like, there's a man standing by the door. He looks whatever, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense, but using description rather than just almost like a dialogue of thoughts.
Yeah, I see that.
Anyway.
Okay.
So
to wrap up, if you had the opportunity, honestly, to like go back, you had unlimited time. You can make this the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. Well, you've already kind of explained what you would change, but to go a little bit deeper, what would be the like end goal for it?
Yeah, so there's multiple things. Obviously, this is a 30-minute prompt story, so there's not as much of a beginning, middle, and end, right? Mm-hmm. I think I would like to set up like a conflict that either gets resolved or gets worse by the end. So introducing a specific problem, and it can't just be like, oh, she can't meditate, but it can be like, why can't she can't meditate? Mm-hmm. Like, what thought is she avoiding to think about? And I don't know. I think one direction the story could take is that through her getting exasperated with meditation, she could find like an actual good coping mechanism. Because right now she just goes to get ice cream.
That could be a good coping mechanism.
But yeah, well, not really.
Always eat your feelings.
But something, I don't know. There's something where she can reach a peak of exasperation and just feeling bad, right? And use that either to get better or to get worse. But I think I would like to there needs to be some kind of movement up or down. I think so. That's what I would do if I changed the story.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, we can move on to our next session. Sterling, let's talk about your story.
Yeah.
What do you actually did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I actually I know it's like a you thing, like after like reading stuff from like our writing classes and this, like you're really good at like those short and sweet sentences and it works. But like I honestly kind of want to see what it would look like for you if you like wrote like longer sentences with also short sentences, but like your long sentences that aren't just like people getting frustrated in them, but like just like a long like flowy.
Okay.
So like Cormac McCarthy-esque.
Right. I don't want him to like change his tone or like his style.
Right.
Because like that's
move away from just the Hemingway sentences
right.
to having some more of the longer. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking like multiple clauses, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Using a semicolon.
I'll think about it.
I love semicolons.
They're so beautiful. We had a whole 30-minute discussion on how to properly use a semicolon. And we never figured it out.
I think we did. It's two independent clauses. It's basically okay. The way
we're not gonna do this.
I'll make it quick. The way to treat it is not like a comma. To think of it when you just have two sentences and they're right next to each other and they might as well be like they're just super related.
You just have semicolon.
My mom made a ton of apple pie and cakes yesterday. She loves cooking.
Okay,
that's semicolon. It's like the same thing.
How I feel, and I carry this philosophy throughout life, is that you should either make sure that you're 100% right or be willing to be 100% wrong.
Right. I mean, you can always look it up afterwards.
Yeah.
You'd think a rhetoric and writing major would know more about grammar, but I don't know crap, so...
I just Google Docs it. Yeah. But that's besides the point. Yeah. So, let's talk about you.
Yeah, let's talk about Sterling.
Cool.
So, Sterling, is there anything... Well, what do you want to tell us before we go into your story? And also, how did writing it go, actually?
Really, really good, actually.
This is your fourth time?
Something like that.
It's my third time being on, and I think...
two of your stories were just on the podcast.
Yes,
so
two of my other stories. Yes, so... It was actually really good. I had no idea where I was going to go, but I went to New Orleans over the summer and I was remembering Café du Monde. Really, really good beignets. Yeah. Oh, I really wanted to buy a box mix, but then, people have those pot holders with recipes on them. I just took a bunch of pictures. Yeah. But it's a really fun city. If you haven't been, you should try to go. So I was just remembering that establishment and I was remembering that scene and I was like, I'm just gonna go with it. So I just kind of described this man at what was inspired to be Café du Monde, set in New Orleans, and I just went for it. So yeah, I didn't know what I was getting until I was like, ooh, plot twist, and then I was like,
I think I know what you're talking about.
But I woke up at 8:20 in the morning, I grabbed my laptop, I sat in bed, and I wrote, and it was awesome.
Nice.
So, fantastic.
Hey, as long as you do the right thing.
Yeah. As long as you do the right thing, guys. I always feel like writing puts me in a mood to I have dates with myself whenever I want to hardcore write for 5 hours. Aww. And so I go and I buy myself coffee and I kind of dress a little bit nicer and I have a date with myself. So, a writing date. A date with me and my characters.
Do you give yourself flowers?
I don't give myself flowers.
Maybe just one little flower. Just you leave it right under your nose.
I'll buy myself a pastry that has flour in it.
Oh,
okay. All right, let's get into your stories.
Okay. Do I give them my username? I mean, it's going to be pretty easy to find once
if you want people to pay to be able to look for your story, sure.
To pay me, sure.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you all can pay me instead of them.
Through Sterling's Patreon.
Yes. Patreon me. I'm a good person to Patreon. I don't even know what that is. I'm
Which
just kidding.
Is
I know what Patreon is.
www.sterling.com.
Hey, yeah. Or Sterling's going to make her own website when she gets really rich and famous. So, anyway, my username is One Cosmic Star. One Cosmic and Star are all capitalized, all together. I'm sure there's no way to add space. Is there a way to add spaces?
No, you can do underscores.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Which is like a space.
Cool.
But it's not.
Yeah.
Well, my story is called Back in the Game.
Go whenever you're ready. Yeah.
He couldn't tell anyone how many times he had sat in the outdoor section of a cafe. It was always more than he could count. And it was the same story, the same outfit each time he went. A black turtleneck, faded blue jeans, work boots that, despite their appearance, were usually new, and a brown leather jacket. His long auburn hair was slicked back in a low ponytail resembling that of his ancestors from France in the 17th century. To keep the aesthetic for our customers, he told his underling. They didn't question anything he said. A cigar in his mouth and an orchid in a skinny vase were his other two mementos to his customers, and an affogato that he passed off as an espresso shot in front of him. His choice of beverage, and that telltale was just for him. No matter where he was, that's what he had. It was his weakness. He brushed off the dead end of his cigar. It fell in one of the multitudes of coffee and urine puddles on the terrace. Went out faster than a hot coal dunked in ice water. The streets of New Orleans were tranquil that morning. It was a Sunday, around 6 a.m., before the tourists would start to pile up. The French Quarter at this time was by no means ideal for a rendezvous, and that's exactly why he picked it. He checked his pocket watch. In his silver and gold embroidered hands, it pointed to 6:03. He raised a skinny eyebrow. Did his client dare to be late? He shoved the pocket watch back into his coat. Deal's riskier now. He threw his money down on the table, a couple coins for a tip, and headed down the block. All around him, the smell of powdered sugar and crawfish mingled in the air. Sweet and seafood were not a good combination. Around the corner was a street he hadn't seen before, and he had walked those streets many times in the 2 days before they were supposed to meet up. Curious, as he always was, he went down. The iron outside the restaurant and tattered shutters bled way into his old yet youthful blood. He liked the way it looked, the curves in the architecture, the window panes, all the vines cascading down the support for the awnings. Yes, this is exactly how he pictured it. A handkerchief slipped around his mouth. Rest easy now, Jack, said a sly voice in his ear. Jack collapsed on the uneven ground. He swore he felt something absorbed through his jeans, and it wasn't coffee this time. His heavy head rolled on his shoulders. Picking up was too much strain on his neck. Jack opened his eyes, and his untidy shoes greeted him. His eyes scanned his body. Pants, shirt, jacket. He looked inside the space between his shirt and jacket and breathed a sigh of relief. Pocket watch. A bottle crashed on the ground behind him. Fine, long nails dragged across the base of his neck. He shuddered, but kept his composure the same. Are you my 6 o'clock? He asked. Silk brushed past his chair. I was. You're late. I'm aware. She dragged another chair and sat in front of him. She tilted Jack's head up with one finger. Her eyes, he thought, were ugly. An awful old brown that was muted by layers of a dust gray. Her lips were thin and the bridge of her nose just as much. On her left cheek was an indent, long and curved, that ran from her jawbone past her eyes and up to her hairline. It was thick and on the deeper side of shallow. The lady grabbed a lighter and 2 cigars. She stuck one of them in Jack's mouth and lit it up for him. After a moment and many long drags, she spoke. I hear you go by R.T. Jack now, a safer anagram than your others. Thanks, he said between clenched teeth. The cigar was ancient and tasted well for its age. He wouldn't let it fall. There's many of us in hiding. The lady in silk flicked off the dead end. How'd you do it? He sighed. There's always people wanting people dead. No, fool, she laughed. How did you stoop that low? We are people who went down in history as vile, maniacal criminals. People to be feared. Should be at the top, and still you do contract work for sad men who can't get laid. He jerked his arms. His wrist rubbed against the twine ropes, but nothing gave. Her hand grabbed his jaw. She pulled Jack's face forward and dragged the chair with him. I know that Jack the Ripper is set to kill, but me and many others like me, we want back in, and we want to win. We aren't working for the lowlifes. We are eternal. Eternal witches and murderers. Legends that parents warn their children about. She chuckled. I want the city to be our first playground. It'll be perfect. He stifled a smile. The offer sounded too tempting. And after? We move to the next city, she said with ease. And the next, and the next, and the next, all to have our jollies. And when the times have passed, maybe we'll come back here, or fly to Europe. I've never been. With a snap of her fingers, the ropes around Jack's hands unbound themselves. His captors stuck out a bony hand. Abigail Williams. He took it and gave a firm shake. Heard of you. I like your work.
Okay.
Yeah, that ended up nowhere where I thought it was going to go. I'm so glad.
It's pretty ominous.
It went there. Like, definitely the beginning gave me the most beautiful picture.
Oh, cool.
I just love the, like, the sun is just peeking over, man on a balcony smoking a cigar.
And that's so, honestly, at the very beginning was very, very Jarvis. Extremely Jarvis. It being kind of
I'm glad I could write Jarvis.
Yeah, you would write Jarvis
It's hard,
in the first
it's hard.
paragraphs. I was immediately really grossed out from the coffee puddles and urine puddles together.
But, Have you been to New Orleans?
No.
I don't think people actually pee on the streets.
At that point, I didn't know it was New Orleans.
Oh.
So that was the thing. Is that you only find out until a little after.
Though for a second I thought they were vampires.
That could have also been an option.
Yeah.
But I actually, let's go into that. I really like the reveal of it being Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
I didn't get it until like a moment before she starts talking about them being murderers.
Yeah.
Like, she says, RT Jack or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that's a weird name.
Yeah.
And then I went a little bit further and let me actually go ahead and look at it.
But I do like that apparently murderers and witches get to live forever.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you go out in history as a scary person, like, you need to kind of stay alive to, like, keep your fear up, you know?
You should read Pact. That's what Pact's about. Anyway, the line was, so, I heard you go by RT Jack now, a safer anagram than your others. So I was like, anagram? Jack? Alright, I don't know who that is, but okay. And then he's late in 2 sentences later, he's like, he sighed, there's always people wanting people dead. So I was like, oh, murderer, Jack,
The
RT,
Ripper.
Jack the Ripper, except it's not that way. I was like, oh, and I connected it. I love how it's like it's like a whatever anagram. It's like just the letters moved around.
He's barely trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if it was like Rip T Jack, you know?
Rip T Jack.
Because Rip T Jack.
Yeah, so I thought that was really well done. The figuring out the puzzle right before it's revealed is always satisfying.
Yeah.
And apparently he works with? I'm not sure.
I wasn't really sure either. I didn't want to, like, spend too much time kind of, like, getting to that because I wanted him to, like, be partners with Abigail Williams, who, you know, was the first person to, like, start the accusations of the Salem witch trials.
I did not know that, but that's good to know.
Yeah, I had to look up her name, but I read The Crucible in high
John
school.
Proctor.
Yeah. And, like, I thought, like, well, you know, sad old men might try to, like, do some prostitutes, and if the prostitutes don't want to do them, or whatever, something happens, like, he could just get hired to, like, kill, like, his, you know, his MO was, like, prostitutes, right?
Kill the prostitute, yeah.
So that's what I was trying to, like, get at, but I was like, I can't, like, I don't have time to flesh that out if I want to, like, flesh out what is Abigail's end goal, and why does she need Jack, you know?
I mean, I could follow it.
Yeah.
I didn't entirely pick up that it was a thematic thing, but I got that he was just being a standard murderer.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Standard contract killer.
Yeah. I like when he wakes up after the chloroform and all that. He wakes up, he's like, "Are you my 6 o'clock?" And that's like the thing he says. I don't know.
He's got to keep business rolling.
It's very character. It builds a character a lot. He's like not worried at all. He's just like, this is what's happening this time.
But it also opens up like a lot of questions for me. Like, so they live forever. Can they be killed? Why are they living forever?
You got to use your voice if you're going to answer that.
Oh, sorry. I've been nodding my head a lot. I'm like, I don't know. I just thought the idea of, like, you know, like monsters, they, like, persist throughout time. Because there's, like, I read this other Jack the Ripper story, and it was that he did ceremonial killings to, like, keep his eternal youth up.
Oh.
I can't remember the title now, but it, like, he met up with a guy, and the guy, his mother was one of the victims, and so he was trying to, like, find Jack the Ripper to avenge his mother and stuff. Even though he didn't know his mom, he just, like, found out that she was a prostitute, and one of the people, she was killed by Jack the Ripper, so.
Real quick, I want to, for listeners, if you need something to say to recommend this podcast to people, this is now a true crime podcast.
Yes, true
so
crime.
as of this story, this is now a true crime podcast about Jack the Ripper. So please, you know, I mean, that's what's in right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And
True
then
crime
also,
podcast,
we are sponsored by Dick Wolf.
Yes.
Yep. I don't know who that is.
He's the producer of SVU.
Well, he's the producer of every Law and Order.
Oh, okay.
Every.
Okay. So going back, some other stuff that I really liked. I loved this particular line when Abigail Williams is first revealed to us. You have the line, she tilted Jack's head up with one finger. Her eyes, he thought, were ugly. Which it's great.
I loved it.
It was a great subversion, especially just, I mean, this is just kind of a coincidence, but for me, the formatting was so, her eyes, he thought, was the end of one line, and so there's an even longer pause as I go to look at the next sentence, at the next line, and then it's the word ugly. And so, yeah, it's a great subversion because her, eyes are always described as like really beautiful, or if they are going to be not beautiful, they're just like really mysterious, super weird, or like deep and dark,
or they pop and stuff.
No, these were just fucking ugly.
Yeah, they were like a dirty brown and gray.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your story, you talk about, what's that coffee that you talk about? Because I know you talked to us beforehand.
Off air.
Affogato.
Yes.
Affogato.
Affogato. What exactly
when
is
you
that?
put ice cream, and then you put espresso on top, and I think you might add the steamed milk. I'm not entirely sure, but I know for sure it's like ice cream and espresso.
Okay.
And it's very good. There's a, my sister went up to Wisconsin, and there's like an entire coffee shop, and that's all they do is make affogatos.
Really?
Yeah, that's their only thing.
So that's like the best ice cream.
Yeah.
Makes it really, oh wow, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. I just like that. I've never heard of that, and it definitely, for some reason for me, adds a like bit to it, because now I see a character just having this cup of like melted ice cream.
Right. Like drowned in espresso. I do not think at Café du Monde, which was what inspired me to write this piece, they have affogato. I wish they did, but they do not. But they have some smacking beignets.
So that's a con. They don't got affogato, but a pro, they don't have urine puddles on their
No,
Paris.
they do not.
No.
It depends.
They're also dog
depends
friendly.
if it's Mardi Gras.
Okay. Is there... I have some I have some like critiques I would give.
Yeah.
So
Jack the Ripper's not French. I am very aware.
Well, I don't remember.
Well, see, now he's cooler because he's French.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, some little things were just, I don't want to say, like, plot holes is such a stupid word, but, like, there's just some things that, like, I feel like would go smoothly with a little more explanation or a little bit more build-up.
Yeah.
Like him being knocked out with the chloroform, right? It was just very sudden. And so I was wondering if there might have been another way to, like, have him, like, walk into a dark room or have him struggle a little bit first before he gets knocked out. Or just, like, letting it happen.
Was that him getting hit with, like, chloroform being so sudden on purpose? Because, like, once you whiff it, you're out.
I was going to expand on, like, if you've walked that city for 2 days, you kind of, like, get to know the streets, and, like, I was going to expand on, like, oh, it's an illusion, and she cast it up to, like, lure him in.
Yeah,
but I didn't have time for that.
Yeah. So that's the thing I mean.
Yeah.
Because I was just surprised about, it seemed contrary to his character, especially as a contract killer.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
To be outed by a handkerchief.
Right, yeah.
And then, of course, there's, like, the offer at the end could also be just like built up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, why hasn't he already done stuff like this?
Right.
You know,
but it definitely does open up to possibility.
Yeah. But of course, this is 30 minutes.
Yeah. So you can.
This is stuff that you go in afterwards if you want to expand this serial killer story. Right?
So next time you have like a whole hour. You can hash out the entire story.
Yeah. I also thought about. I really wanted a female in there because I wanted to use pronouns until we got to, like, a reveal of a name. And so, like, I couldn't do, like, he, and then, like, he was, like, too direct. So, anyway, so I chose Abigail Williams. So my other candidate was, whoever did, like, the Murder Hotel. Like, that. Norman Bates? Yeah.
I mean, that's the show. I don't know about
it. It was based off of a real person.
Norman Bates.
Yeah.
Bates Motel. That was I didn't.
No, not Psycho. He's, like, he, like, locked people in a hotel and, like, would drain the oxygen and, like listen to
the Death Hotel?
Yeah.
There was, like, a Death Hotel on the East Coast where it's, like, the whole... Like, he custom made a house with different contractors so that they didn't know what was actually there. Yeah. But there was, like, pits and deadfalls and, like, secret rooms.
That's crazy.
It was made to murder people. So, like I said, this is now a true crime podcast.
True crime podcast. Yeah.
So, next episode, we're going to Death Hotel.
Yeah, so do you think we could all guest star on Serial? Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally. We totally know what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Do me Serial, like, Rice Krispies? Or?
No, there's a podcast called Serial.
Serial sounds good right now, though.
Serial Killer.
With or without orange juice.
And it's... That's a true crime right there. Crime against humanity.
Speaking of true crime, have you ever brushed your teeth and then drank a whole bunch of orange juice?
Okay.
I actually did kind of this morning. Yeah.
So going back to the story.
Sorry, you can totally X
some
that out.
particular things that I like the pacing of the description.
Mm-hmm.
There's never a point in the story where I was just like, oh, get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that it was like really, especially because I think you add some movement in as he goes through and character moments that like help space it out. I remember my longest story that I wrote, I was trying to write a novel, and I wrote 30,000 words, which is progress.
That's great.
But my problem was that I just described way too much, and it became chaotic and boring.
Yeah.
Like, I loved everything I described, but it just kept going. And I think the way that you space that out is with the character moments. So, the stuff like him being curious, and him picturing things a certain way, and things like that, I think was a good way to pace that.
Yeah, because there's definitely like a balance that you strike.
Yeah,
because the beginning, you definitely start out with the setting, but it doesn't always end there, which is something that I've noticed in like a log writing. It's just after they set up what's happening, it's just all right. No more setting. You already know what it looks like, and then move on.
Which is it's a totally valid other way of doing it.
Yeah,
I know. A Wild Bow in Worm and Ward, he gives a little bit more description at the beginning, but he really does like do it over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like he spaces out it a lot more, where you only are really given details when they really matter.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, he describes things a lot early on, and the characters are really consistent, so you kind of already know what they look like and stuff like that. But other writers like George R.R. Martin describe the entire thing first, and then they go through it. So it's just some different methods to try out.
Yeah, it's whatever works for your feng shui.
So that's an interesting idea. Is there anything else you want to talk about your story? Or Jarvis, any other thoughts you have?
Well, go
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if you were to...
I had fun writing it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all that really matters. And
I could see it being a series, like you have, like you pick 3 main like people who went down in history.
Sure.
As like people to be feared, crime people, and then you like have a perspective of whatever their main mission is per each book. So like first would be Jack the Ripper, and then you have Abigail Williams, and then you have someone else.
I see.
That is so you to immediately go to multi-book series.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't not multi-book it, and I'm sorry. I know I'm such a hypocrite. I want a single fantasy book, and I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, some stories take time. Like the sequel could be El Chapo, Al Capone.
So if you were to rewrite your story, Sterling, how would you do it?
Rewrite it? I'd just probably like make details clearer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fix my grammar. I put 7th century instead of 17th. So
how dare you?
Oh yeah.
There weren't any French people in the 7th century.
Right, yeah, I know.
There weren't even people.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper is apparently from the 7th century. I'm just kidding.
He's been alive this whole time.
He's been alive this whole time, guys. Yeah, just probably make some details clearer. Maybe flesh out the deal between Abigail and Jack, and he's like less reluctant to take it so fast. But yeah.
Okay. Well.
All right. Well, let's transition to the second to last section on the
Which
pod.
are all of our submitted stories.
Woo!
Not 17.
Not all of them, because as we've said in the previous
we're only
podcast,
talk about 5 of
we
them.
only have time to talk about 5. But damn, do I wish I had time to talk about all of them.
Because they're really good.
Yes.
All of them are super fun.
Please go and listen to them. So the stories this week were stories by Kyrgyzstan, Sarah Penguin, Maisie 1, Calinero 985, and Since. Since was also last week, but that's just going to happen sometimes. And I wanted to keep that open for people to go twice in a row so that no one ever feels like, oh, I might as well not this week because I wrote last week. So I'm kind of glad that this happened early on. That way we can just establish that happened. So let's go through the story. So first by Kyrgyzstan.
So Kyrgyzstan wrote Vault T-P7NC3, which I thought was really, really cool. It was not exactly what I expected. It reminded me so much of, if y'all have seen it, the second Cloverfield movie, only a lot bigger.
Okay. Well, let's summarize it first. Real quick.
I give my state, you summarize.
Okay, I think it's good to summarize it first because if people haven't read it, they're just like, "What are you talking about?" So this story was a Fallout-esque setting where people have been locked into a vault, and there's one main character, Novice Ty, wants to go out into the world and is frustrated with being stuck in the world. So we get kind of like a quick. Multiple scenes, which is impressive that they were able to do that.
Yeah, and in only 30 minutes is a lot of
Well, I think Kyrgyzstan actually says they're the one that they said that they squeezed an extra 15 minutes
45
afterwards.
minutes for all the content?
That's
still
which,
pretty good.
Again, it's not that big a deal if you go a little bit over. I would, if your story is too long, we're not going to talk about it on the podcast. But if you just go a little over, it's not a big deal. As long as you're writing. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Committing to 30 minutes is wonderful. So they want to get out of this vault, and as we go through, we find that their ancestors were Americans, and they're trying to preserve the American way. But I thought there was an interesting juxtaposition because the characters are all named with like Chinese names.
Yeah,
and like
but they're preserving the American way.
and they're following like their ancestors and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting. I don't know how much of this was intentional, but I kind of got the idea that like they've been in there so long they've completely lost whatever this American way was, right?
Mm-hmm. that is just it's muddied and I do like how they talked about faith, like a lot, and how just within the setting of this world, something that holds these people together is the faith of what happened before, and that it'll somehow lead them to a better day. But as it goes on, the main character basically notices that like stuff is happening, and like I think it said like there's been 2 collapses that month or something like that. So he basically goes to the vault opening multiple times, and he's jotting down some of the descriptions so he can one day open it. Yeah. And then he actually ends up being able to open it, and he has a nice back and forth with, what's the name, Master Pi? Or Master...
Gil.
Yeah, with Master Gil, and how Master Gil is just saying, don't open it, you'll die, And then at the end, he ends up opening it, and I do like the very last line. It is, the vault door roared open, and all was light. So it just leaves you with, it could be anything.
Things could be horrible or things could not.
Be beautiful.
Yeah. I think a theme that could be pushed a little bit more right there, because there's a hint of it, but it's not stated more, and it could be brought to the surface, is that like it kind of doesn't matter because they are kind of taking like a leap of faith that things will be better once they open the doors. So I don't know. There's something there.
Yeah, there's definitely something there. But overall, it's a fantastic read.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I loved how much it stuck to this world's guns.
Yeah.
And how it didn't try to give us like an end and just told a really nice story, and like you saw the arc of this main character since the beginning. That the goal was to go outside, and at the end they went outside for all these odds.
Yeah, you said that conflict, you said that the want, and they get it at the end. Yeah. And then I just wanted, the world building is really fun. One way that they push it is they come up with like old world words. So like, but they say like it's been corrupted over time. So instead of nuclear fire, it's new space clear fire, clear space fire, like 3 different words, because they don't really know what that means anymore. So I just thought it was interesting. So it's a well done story.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it kind of reminds me of A Canticle for Leibowitz that takes place in a total post-apocalyptic world, or of a anime called Gurren Lagann.
Green leg.
Which I love that show, so it's supposed to be a compliment, unless like said writer hates Gurren Lagann, then I'm sorry.
The thing is, I feel if you hate that anime, you should rewatch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked it. I did. I thought, I resonate with the main character because he's like, I want to know and I want to like save people, but like the master is like all in consequence. And I like how they really establish like position in the underground holding. Mm-hmm. You have novice and you have master, and it's like that's just such a power play.
But then also somewhere in the middle, it's initiate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so next story we're going to go over is the story by Sarah Penguin, which is called On a Cliff's Edge.
Yes.
And this story was really cute. So the story starts off with Lana is sitting, I think, on the edge of a cliff. Was that it? Yeah. Sitting somewhere, looking out to somewhere, and her friend Katie comes up, and Lana's clearly upset, and they get to talking, and they have some great fun, like, back and forth.
Really well done back and forth.
Yeah.
Just between these two characters. And the first crisis happens when Lana
comes out as gay, and it's like a lovely little, like, I'll be your friend, and even through that, but then we get revealed that Katie is
also gay.
I think bi is kind of the implication. I don't know. Because
I'm guessing bi, because there was a line where Katie said that the reason why she hasn't had a boyfriend is because no one in the town is good enough.
Yeah, it was. I want to read them out. So this is with the. So first we get to reveal that Lana's gay. So Lana took a deep breath and held it as long as she could. I'm gay. Explains why you rejected every boy that ever asked you out. Katie wrapped an arm around Lana. So first, I want to point out that clearly we immediately get that Katie's like totally cool and chill and doesn't make the big deal about this. And then then what's your excuse? No boys in this town are good enough for me, obviously. And so like then there's a more back and forth about Lana being worried she's going to get called out. They have some great like just funny back and forth banter. Mm-hmm. And then Katie gets frustrated and says, are you going to be a stereotypical useless lesbian all day? I draw so many hints. Hints about what? I like you. Homo intended. And then it's just like it's a wonderful little reveal after like we kind of like things die down after the first reveal and we feel that they're just friends. Yeah. And then they go up again because now they're maybe a little bit more than friends. And then there's just some more fun back and forth, and they like call each other girlfriends. And it's really cute and loving, and it was really sweet. I really liked it.
Very, very wholesome. It warmed my heart. It was a great read, because it was mostly a dialogue.
Yeah.
But the dialogue was written in a way that is so telling that you can definitely fill in the blanks with what movements they're like probably doing and exactly how they're saying it, because the way it is written just evokes a certain tone, at least when I read it.
And it has this like fun energy and flow back and forth, which is interesting because in their comment after their story, they mentioned that they have trouble writing dialogue. So I think you did a really good job, Sarah, in getting through all that. So
yeah, definitely. So
it reminded me of this writing exercise that our professor made us do in class. We had to write like just about dialogue. Or, like, just with dialogue, but with, like, we could add, like, he said, she said, little tags, here and there. And something that writing exercise, and I saw in your comment that you really wanted to get better at dialogue, something that exercise brought out to me is, like, making dialogue more fluid and make it, actually sound conversational, but also that you want to have, people sound different. Mm-hmm. Because the way that people talk and, like, how they talk, content-wise, and that's hard to do in writing because, you know, every reader's gonna, like, kind of picture their own tone and their own voice for, like, the characters, but you want the content to at least be a little bit
telling.
And telling of, like, who is talking to who, because there's a long section where there is no dialogue tag, and so, like, at some points I would get a little bit, like, confused if it was Lana or if it was Katie, so that's where dialogue tags do help out.
At the same time, like, especially if they're longer lines, like if they look more like paragraphs, it's actually, to me, it's pretty easy to set up like a pattern of this person talks and that person stops.
Right.
And you only need to do like a one person reminder. You can just be like, oh, this person talks, and then the next one can have no dialogue tag because we've already established that the other person talked, so of course it's going to be the other person. So,
but if you go like 15 lines or 15 paragraphs, and no dialogue tags.
Yeah. Because I know, like, at least for me, I got a little bit lost towards the end.
You know what it is?
As to who was
Go ahead. I'll finish.
Yeah, I just got a little bit lost at the end as to who was speaking, but it was very easy just to hop back on because
it was easy. It's just that moment of I forget
because we don't know enough about these characters to super differentiate them because there are both gay women, right? And that we don't know that too much about them other than those.
Except
things.
one's cats and one's dogs, and some of them.
Yeah, but it's like they're similar people. So I think. In a longer story where we've had more time to get used to them, I think we wouldn't need the dialogue tags at that point. Like if this was a scene halfway through the novel or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But in a short story, it's very But if it was an orc talking and then a human or an elf, right? So two very different people, I think we wouldn't have as much trouble.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yes. The two. All right. So next story by Maizy One. So Maizy One is Elliot from Deep Impact and Media MD, and so
very smart story.
Yeah, and I want to point out this. So okay,
so basically, it's called "Delete Me, Please," and it's from the point of view of what I'm getting is the screen, or because
I thought it was a character. I thought it was a character implied in the story.
I thought it was from the point of view of the thing he was writing on.
Yeah, the voice of the story. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the voice of the story is a laptop computer type deal.
I think it's the construct of the character. Maybe
we got two different things.
No, I'm pretty sure this story is about so they go through and it's the character is being written as the story goes, and they feel pain in being written because the author, Maizy One, has made them has decided that they will feel pain at their existence, right? Okay. And it's I don't know, it's a very interesting meta narrative because it's not only just I'm in a story, it's also real time, it's being written. I thought it was very interesting. And then one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up was because this isn't the only story that was about writing this week. I think the word indent really made people want to write these stories. There was at least one other meta-narrative, and then there was another one just about writing as well. So I thought those were interesting. Yeah. This... I don't know. This story is interesting because it deals with free will. Because obviously the construct being invented in the story doesn't have any free will because it's just words on a page. And it's feeling pain at this, and just acknowledge that it's feeling pain doesn't actually solve any of its problems because it still doesn't have control over it.
And then he even tries as hard as he possibly can to type out "help me."
Yeah, and "help me" is in fun corrupted text.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's really, I've never seen someone actually implement that into their story so far. So I really liked it. But yeah, and then it goes into asking some very existential questions like create me, create pain. Just what kind of creator does this? And I don't know. It's from a point of view that I've never heard before, but definitely it's just, I don't know, it's fun. It's really fun.
It was fun to read, especially because it has direct reference to Do the Right Thing, because it's a reference to real life.
Yeah. So then it goes into talking about the 30 minutes and then the 3 words that have to be in me.
So I want to read the last 2 paragraphs. Oh man, I want to read the paragraph before that, but that'll be too much. I'm not even afforded the final grace. The clock ticks down and there are a few minutes to spare. I can be edited, my rough edges smoothed over, my existence amounting to slightly less pain, but I am not worth it. The end. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of a stressful story, so I like that. And I don't know, there is some existential stuff there, like what do we create when we do these things? Mm-hmm. I think you could really go down the rabbit hole and get super fucked up about it if you really do that. Because if all your stories are real, then all of them are real, and they're constant.
So subversive.
Yeah.
This is so subversive. But it was good writing, though.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So I hope Elliot keeps writing along with us, because I love seeing his stuff every week. We're probably not going to choose this story every week, though, because that would be
we are going to choose him every week.
Every single week.
Yeah, Elliott's just going to be the new guest speaker, and he doesn't know
That's
it.
right. He doesn't have to be here because Aussie time is difficult to deal with, so we just won't do it.
So I'm guessing next up is Calinero 985.
Yeah, let's go find that one.
And it's called Try and Try Again.
Yeah, so the story, Try and Try Again. So it has Gary and Robin in a submarine going down, and we get this really great description of Gary, who's an asshole.
Yeah.
And they go all the way down in this tense situation before coming back up, basically. And Gary this whole time is keeps emphasizing how they shouldn't be going down; they should be going up into space. Yeah. And space is how they should be investing stuff. So
they are underwater. I kept getting, like, in my head, I kept getting confused because I was like, well, I guess you could have a sub in space. So I didn't know if they were collecting something from, like, the ocean floor or from space. And, like, sorry, that's on me, not on you.
Okay, sure.
Well, then also on that, I like, when I started reading, I took a totally different route. I thought it was like some sort of, like, underground sub. So it's like
I'm very surprised.
A tunnel, but there's like a subway.
It's like House Moving Castle. And
exactly,
it's like, yeah.
I'm trying to look if there's mentions of water in the beginning.
I sank.
Yeah, there's a couple, and the fact that it's a submarine should be a
submarine can be a lot of things, but
okay. Well, I thought there's the main thing of the story is the wonderful back and forth between Gary and Robin.
Yeah,
Gary's an asshole. Robin doesn't want to listen to it, and or he's not an asshole. He's just really annoying.
No, yeah, he's just a harsh person.
Yeah,
is what I'm getting. Like he doesn't necessarily have a bad characteristic, should I say? Like, he's not a bad person.
Right.
I just feel that
he just talks too much.
He talks too much. He's very blunt.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that when they get down to the stressful situation, they completely stop talking, and the narrative kind of switches over to a heavier description. And I don't know. It was just interesting to see that both of these characters just stop right there and go on. To do something else. I
appreciate that it was like all description in the tense situation, because I feel like something that happens in books and something that also happens in movies now is that the intense action scenes are also broken up by like little quips from the characters, and it draws me out of how intense the scene is supposed to be.
Because they're calm enough to say quips and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's more realistic if everybody goes dead silent. It's like, I was watching, Battlestar Galactica with my friend the other day, and they're all sitting in the room, like, looking at the panel, and, like, they've given the order for them to do something on the invasion planet, and they're all just sitting there, and it's, like, silent, and then, like, I mean, you'll switch over to, like, the guy in the plane who's, like, talking to his other people, but, like, everybody in that command room is silent. Mm-hmm. So, it's, like, it just shows how stressful it is for them.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, and it's honestly it's a very pretty story. There's some beautiful moments in it, especially as they go back up and things are beautiful again.
Yeah. After
that stressful situation that they could have died on.
Yeah.
So so really good job, Calinera. I don't know what I would critique if I was going to do anything. Honestly, I would just like to see more practice.
Yeah, that, and also it would be nice I would like to see what's around this.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, what does the sub look like? Just very shortly, like, what I got that it was small, right? But I didn't know if it was like made of plastic or metal.
Because I mean, obviously, I guess in reading it, there was something that was lost in translation. Because two of us didn't really know it was a sub. Granted, it takes me like two reads or so.
I think
to really drown it in.
It would only need like, a single sentence saying we went down in the water or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
just
there was something small.
Or they launched us off the dock or the pier, or the giant freaking like army battleship lowered us into the water.
So I do think that I think most people who read the story probably didn't have that problem, because we read pretty quickly trying to get ready for this,
right?
But it's an easy fix regardless,
and just something small, something that is definitive, that puts you directly into the next part. That's all I'm really looking for.
All right, the last stories we're going to talk about is Synth's story. It's a really hard name to say.
Synth.
So that was Stealing Glances, which is another cute little romance.
It's super cute.
I think we mentioned this earlier, but it's done a lot less through dialogue and a lot more through description. And it's also spiced up with some song lyrics.
I'm not sure what song.
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I'm sure if you Google it, you find it, but I have no idea. I didn't do that.
Wait,
I just paid attention.
They don't love you like I love you.
Yep, that's the refrain. So the story is a teenager driving a car with like their it's a male teenager and their female best friend's family basically is in the car.
And they're going on a camping trip because the mom is on a business trip.
Or something like that. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that there's, some romantic tension between the main character and their longtime female best friend.
Yeah.
And so I thought the tension was built up in a fun way as we find out more about the relationship of the family dynamic and stuff like that.
And then also it just does a really nice job of at least trying to capture a glimpse of what the like young love.
Yeah, it's a really fun. Like the ending of the story is basically the main character like looks in the mirror, and we were describing over the course of the story how they get their heart starts beating faster whenever they like touch or anything like that. But they look in the mirror and they see the female love interest looking back in the mirror and mouthing the words of the song, which is "Wait, they don't love you like I love you." And they like feel a thrill in their chest. I was like, I feel that thrill right now. That's wonderful.
But I do like the last two lines. They're, I don't know, there's perfect. It says I was in trouble, or maybe trouble was into me.
It was it's such a fun, cute line.
It's so cute. It's definitely reminds me of a like John Green line.
Yeah,
I can definitely see that.
Well, yeah, I think this is more playful and happy than
100%.
the stories would have had.
I like it's closer towards the top when it says, I liked Mr. Price Robert well enough. I like that you like slid in like the first name because it's like, they are family friends and like, I don't know, especially like in the South, like if you have like longtime friend neighbors, like even the kids will like start to call the adults by their first name, or you say like Mr. whatever, Mrs. whatever, but use their first name instead of their last name. So like it shows how close they are family relationship wise, and then also like how well the two families mesh. So it's already like foreshadowing hopefully good meshing vibes for like eternity.
Now they're the perfect family.
Yeah.
Because the people that you meet when you're a child, you instantly marry and have 7 kids with.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just a really fun, cute story. I really liked it. I really liked reading it.
Yeah, definitely. I would... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, shit. So many of the stories I really liked.
And also going to the comment, I see where since... That's hard to say. They basically said that they basically want to create this teenage romance, but with little dialogue, and I think they did that very successfully. I mean, I felt it. I felt that warm, fuzzy feeling that you get when you are young in love, and then it was very light on dialogue, but it wasn't anything that I missed.
Sure,
like it didn't need dialogue apart from what little dialogue is in there.
I would say it did go a little bit back into memory, a little bit too much for my taste. I would say like grounding those memories in something that's happening in the moment would be a good way to bring those out and make them feel a little bit more natural. Because it felt like we left and then had to be like forced back down to earth.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, one wonderful story, really, really fun. So please go read it if you want.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's so many good ones, and there's like at least 3 in my mind right now that were like, oh god, I wish we could talk about it, but I just don't have the time.
But if you want to know which ones we are talking about, you should just head on over to the subreddit and read them all, because they're fantastic stories. You'll love them. Just take out like 2 hours, get a nice chill session.
Yeah, I don't think you even need quite that much. Maybe 1 hour, hour and a half.
Reddit is slowly becoming my new Pinterest, actually, because Pinterest is like, you scroll
that's
and you...
scary.
pictures.
And the scroll is this. I had to delete Reddit. I couldn't take it. It was too much.
I think you have to read.
It was too addictive, is what I'm saying.
That's true. Yeah.
I spent too much time on
like
it.
sugar.
So I want to give shout outs to all of the other writers this week. So shout outs to Zorglord and Mordinamail, who are Ruben and Matt respectively from Doof Media. Stuck in Reddit Factory, It's All Uphill, Since, Captain Rhino, Kausubalu, V2. I just realized I'm saying all the
V2
names that we already did. Sarah, again, thank you. No Goodbye, which was just great. I appreciate that. That's not me hating on bi people. That's me being a bi. But Amazing One, J Maniac, Calinero 985, Kyrgyzstan, JD Brandon, who I think this is the first time they submitted, so thank you. Corona Palencia, and Shin 7. So all of you, even if you weren't mentioned this week, you are more likely to be mentioned the next time that 100%. You write.
And 1,000 thank yous for not only doing the right thing, but also commenting on other people's pieces.
Yeah, really appreciate that for those that did. Every single time that you write, your chances to get talked about go up every single time. And if you are a patron, that goes up as well. So all you have to do is become a patron at the $1 level at Doof Media /Patreon or Patreon/Doof Media, and become $1 donor. And you can also join the Discord, which is awesome. Wildbow's in there. Like, he talks all the time. Like, I mean, don't swarm him because he doesn't deserve that, but he's in there.
But it's just cool to like hang out in the same VIP area.
And also, they say some really cool stuff. Wildbow and all of the other members of Doof. All the members of Doof Media as well. They say some really cool things.
We're all smart people, promise.
Sometimes.
They are.
About 60% of the time.
Yeah.
60, yes.
So I actually want to plug some other Doof Media shows. So I mentioned earlier, the Doof Media Book Club is just about finishing. So if you've read the Mistborn trilogy or read Brandon Sanderson's work, or if you know that you're never going to read it and you don't care about spoilers, come on down and you can come and see the live recording. Or maybe it's at Patreon. It might be patrons only.
I think it's patrons only.
Might be. Might be. I don't know. But look it up at the very least. And listen to that when it comes out.
And then also, if you want some of their older content, I have started listening to We've Got Worm.
Yes. How far are you in Worm now?
I read it the other day. I'm going to say Arc 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one more arc than you were last week.
Yeah. So I've read I've listened to the first episode. It was really, really good. Of course, with all first episodes, it's all that like getting used to type deal. But no, it's really good. I would definitely, first of all, recommend reading Worm. It's fantastic. But also, I would also recommend listening to it because it gives you a stronger reason to finish. Sure. If you know that, it's not only you're looking forward to the end of this book, but you're looking forward to what they're going to say in the next episode.
Yeah. All right. So let's do the ending of the show. Sorry, I was trying to think of what the actual next part.
It's the
words.
words.
Just plugging Doof Media. I promise.
Yes. So
we can keep plugging them.
So if you want to write along with us, you can do so at reddit.com/r/do the right thing with writing. It's the name of the podcast. You already know this. And you can also, if you don't have a Reddit account, or you don't want to post it online for whatever reason, you can also send us an email at rightthingcast@gmail.com.
You can also see the new words that we release every week when we record, which is today, Sunday, Your Lord Our God.
Dear Lord Our God.
Dear Lord Our God. But you can also check it out by following our Twitter at RightThingCast or going to our subreddit.
Yes. What else do we have? We
record at about noon every Sunday. So
that's
please,
Central Standard Time.
Central Standard Time for our Aussies out there. So please try your best to have your submissions in by then so we can read them, we can digest them, take them to heart, and maybe you'll be mentioned on the pod.
Aren't they ahead of us?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so Central Standard Time.
What would that be in Australian time?
I don't want to. They can figure that out.
Yeah. It's your job.
He pointed at the microphone when he said that. Like, what else do I have to say? I feel like there's at least one.
What are the new words?
I'm looking it up. So, I know we've all been waiting for this. The great words for next week. Next week's words are stray, dolls, rightful, and historical.
Wait, so straight?
Stray. My bad.
Stray. As in like a stray dog.
Yeah.
Stray.
Historical. Like a historical event.
Okay.
Dolls. Like dolls.
Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And rightful. Like the rightful owner of this rifle.
Yeah. Okay.
So
whoa, we both said it at the exact same time.
Because we're both about to do the same thing.
Okay.
So, you should never pick up a stray doll. Because historically it has been proven that those are probably possessed.
Okay, yeah.
By the rightful spirits of the Yahweh Yahoo.
What was the first word? Stray? A stray doll? Okay.
Stray doll.
Okay. This doll is a historical replica of the dresses that the rightful ruler of England used to wear. Until it was mauled by a stray dog.
Until the doll was mauled by a stray dog?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Both.
Oh, shit.
Do you have a gag?
Rightfully so. I have a gag about a stray doll in my bag. It's historically it made me gag, but now it's just a giant red flag.
Yo, bars! That's the end of the podcast. And
that was a right thing type beat.
Yeah, so please use these words as inspiration. I can already think of some ideas.
Yes.
Other than these ridiculous things that we just said.
Which is going to be crazy because I've never written anything that has a doll in it. So
I have. First. That was my first good story.
Yeah, that's a good story.
I hope to see you guys in
They're all good stories. If you say you're not proud of how the story came out, it's always a good story.
Yeah. You learn something. You've got a million bad words, you got to get them out. Yeah. The best way to do that is by
doing the right thing.
End podcast.
Did you get that, Mike?
What if the mic just didn't record anything we said?
No. That's my biggest fear.
I would big cry.